It's been a while. How's everyone doing? Um, it's been at least 3 or 4 months, I think, since I've produced anything or made any update videos. This will just be. I've actually had kind of some content made for months. Just hadn't gotten around to setting up a video or anything to kind of showcase it. It's nothing. It's not a new dungeon, anything like that. You guys know I haven't really been working on anything like that for a while. But what I did implement probably 3 or 4 months ago was obviously everyone's little RPG game has status effects. Whether poison's pretty much a staple in the genre. So poison, bind. There's a few of them that are pretty standard. So that's what I did. That's the last kind of thing. One of the things I worked on was implementing like a poison status. Well, basically I have 6 sort of states. 3 of them. One is called, one's poison. One is bind and one is lazy. So poisoned is obviously like any RPG would be set up for you get hit, you take damage, your guy gets poisoned, and then he'll slowly take damage regardless of what he's doing until an item is used to cure him of that status element. Bind is one that I've used. I don't know what the standard in other games, what bind really does. I'm sure it does different things depending on the game. This bind, it causes the player to not be able to use skill attacks or magic attacks. And then lazy is, if you guys have played this game, you know that the ATB bar, as long as that has available, as long as you have available blue bar in the ATB, the attack bar, you can swing your sword or take actions, and lazy makes that fill up like 1/4 the speed that it normally would. So if you deplete it, you have to sit and wait a long time for it to fill up. So if you're in a room with lots of enemies, the lazy status element could be pretty detrimental just because it takes so long to fill that bar back up to where you can take an action like heal your character or whatever. Excuse me. And then there's the other 3, not really status elements, but they're states your guy can take or be in. It has to do with strength, defense, and magic. So your 3 stats, other than hit points and stuff like that. Those are your 3 attack and defense stats, is strength, defense, and magic. So there's, with the other status elements like poison, bind, and lazy, they're either on or off. So if you're poisoned, you're taking damage. If you're not poisoned, you're in your normal state, just not taking damage. If bind is, if your guy is bound, I guess is how you would say it. If your guy is bound, same thing as the poison. If you're poisoned, it's either on or off. Bound, it's on or off, or lazy, it's on or off. However, the other 3 effects there's 3 states basically. So then there's strength up, defense up, or magic up, or strength down, defense down, magic down. Or then the neutral state would be your guys, it's your typical, like, there's nothing special or against you regarding those 3 stats. I'll just show you. I'll just do a test play just to show you what I'm talking about when I implemented it. It's a pretty easy one to implement. It was really how I was going to represent it to the player graphically on the screen. I'll just use a save file. This is the one right here. So this is just a little. This is where I've been doing a lot of testing, just because it's far enough in the game where I have a lot of the items. I can test stuff. That's a good save point. This is where I do some of my testing. That's where I've been doing this testing anyways. So we know where we're at. Our guys, strength, defense, and magic. And then I just have a dummy event up here. And this is going to afflict my guy with every status element in the game. So all 3 of the poison, bind, and lazy. And then all 3 of the strength up, or strength down, defense down, and magic down. And this will just show you real quick how I'm representing that visually to the character. Okay, so poison depletes your hit points pretty quick. So let me just cure myself of poison. But you can see right there, as I press pause, that little icon bubble that shows you which status effects your character has goes up to that corner, to the top right corner of the screen. Now, I already know the issue. My guy is poisoned, but when I paused it, the poison icon went away. I just haven't decided how I'm going to address it yet. It's not a picture issue. It's actually a certain switch that's on issue. It's how I have that. It's the switch I have the check set up to make that bubble go up in that top right corner. It has to do with that switch. And I just haven't really decided how I'm going to fix it. So I'm going to equip this shroom spore. As you can see, my items have an actual, as you're selecting through them, you can see it has the item name, and then it has a little what the item does to the right. Now, this is the way this is the way it should be set up anyways. It wasn't set up like this before, and taking the time to go through and set it up like this, now it's definitely the way the menu needs to be set up. It's just quick. You don't have to press another button to see what the item does as you're scrolling through. It tells you what the item is and what it does for you without any added further action or key press you would need to do. And before, I had it to where you had to press like the X key again to pop up a little what this item is. And this is just the way to go as far as this game goes. It's using the existing message system, so it was just the obvious route to go. So my shroom spore cures poison, bind, and lazy. I've got 10 of them right now, so I got that equipped. Now, this shroom spore, like it said in the little explanation, it cures all three of those top 3 status elements. So you see the blue X, the red X, and then there was a little poison symbol there when I unpause it. It just kills my guy so quick I don't want to unpause it yet. This is going to cure all 3 of those top ones. So that's the physical ailments. They're all cured by one item. Just for simplicity, since I only have 10 item slots, that's just the route I decided to go. Ironically, the bottom 3, the red would be strength down, the blue is defense down, and the green is magic down. Ironically, I chose to go, those are each have individual items that cure them, but they're not specifically for curing them. Well, here, let's get rid of this, just so we don't die. Okay, so now those top 3 effects are cured. You can kind of get a better look without me worrying about dying. Let me get some health. So, as your guy runs around, his little bubble stays next to him. It's a solid. It's not transparent. It's solid. However, I do have it set up to where as you approach enemies, it does become transparent as to not obscure the player's view. I guess I could keep it up in that top right corner the whole time. It's kind of busy sometimes moving back and forth between the two, but I just really liked it following the hero. I think it just adds a little something to it. Same reason that those icons are kind of bouncing around randomly. Like, I just think it looks pretty good. But if I get close to enemies, you'll see, if you watch it, it'll gain transparency. And that's just to see, you can see through it now. Just for a nice little touch. To not block the player's vision, because it's a pretty big bubble. The bubble doesn't change size, so if I was just poisoned, it would be that size bubble with just the one little poison icon. So I think important that I just died. I think it's important that it becomes transparent and does not obscure the player's view. Now, the reason I died so quick there is because my defense is down. So all 3 of those, strength down, defense down, magic down. Now, I set those up to operate off different items because right now, here, let me go through this whole thing again. What the heck? Oh, you know what? Because I didn't turn those off. Okay, anyways, ignore those comments that just popped up. So, let me heal my guy. And then I'll show you these items. So, Foul Talon, that's strength up. Exo Shard, that's defense up. And I have not yet made the item that is a magic up item. But that'll be 3 items: the Foul Talon, the Exo Shard, and then one other item. Probably getting rid of this bomb and changing it with one of these stat boost items. Now, let's just focus on the strength down, let's say. That's the Foul Talon. So Foul Talon, if your guy's at neutral and you use the Foul Talon, it will increase your strength by like 20% or something like that. I can't remember. I have to look at what the formula does. However, if an enemy casts something on you and it causes you to have strength down, it brings you down whatever, 20% or whatever the number is, or maybe just down 20 points. I can't remember. How you would cure that is you would use a Foul Talon. And when I use that, you'll see that strength down disappears. Now, because there's 3 states there, there's a strength down, a strength up, or just a neutral state where your hero's strength is what it is, no matter what. To cure that strength down, you would use that Foul Talon, but it doesn't take you to neutral. It actually cancels the strength down, and it sets you to strength, whatever your strength up number would be, so up 20%. And my thought process there is, and all of those stat ailments are handled that way. My reason being is I'm limited on items. I wanted to keep it not convoluted as like, okay, well, we got 3 items that help correct if you have a strength, if somebody casts a strength attack, a magic spell that put your strength down, to have to first use, or to have to burn up, let's say 2 of those strength ups. Let's say if it was, I had a strength down, and then I had to use a strength up to get myself back to neutral, and then another strength up to get myself to that strength boost. I feel like that was it's like an extra step. You're either wasting an item to get to that strength up, or you're having 2 items, one to handle your guy that strength down, to cure yourself of the strength down attribute, and then to use another item to get yourself to the strength up to what you're going for. So I just thought it would be handled better, kind of swing it in the player's favor to where it sucks. You got someone cast a spell on you and your guy's strength is down, so you can use that item, and instead of burning an item up just to correct yourself back to 0, it actually takes you from the strength down state to immediately the 20% strength up state. And all of the strength down, the defense down, and the magic down, they're all handled that way. And that is intentional. And I think it's just, again, like swing it in the player's favor using those items. Let's see. I'll show you. You'll see the damage I take with that defense down. Right now, the defense down is still active, so is the magic down. And the magic down will stay there because I haven't made the item yet to get rid of it. But let's take some damage from one of these, from just this mushroom, this mushump enemy. And let's see what kind of damage my guy takes. Oh, 18. Okay. Well, let's check out. If I use an Exo Shard, this will get rid of that defense down. It actually puts my defense up. And let's see what kind of damage he does to me this time. Oops, missed me. Oh, yeah, see. So that's in the strength up. Ooh, that's in the strength up. Because he only did 2. So I went from strength down, being 8, taking 18 damage, I used the Exo Shard, bypassed that neutral state, and then I went directly to the defense up, which took me to, he was only doing 2 damage to me. So I'm still in the strength up state, and this guy's only doing just a few damage to me. And I don't know. I don't know if my strength is up. Yeah, if I use that Foul Talon, my strength should be up right now. I think I might set it up upon a map change. So if you use those strength up, defense up items upon a map change, it's going to zero out all your attributes. So if you were on a map and a bunch of enemies poisoned you and you strength down or strength up on you, I'm thinking maybe when you run to a new map, maybe everything will be zeroed out as the map transition happens, or at least some of them. I haven't decided yet. I'm up in the air on that, and I could use maybe some opinions on that. because I'm not really sure. It's not like these are huge sprawling maps, so it would definitely benefit the player if he had a lot of ailments on him to go to a new map, and then it just cured him, took him back to 0. But at the same time, if you used your strength up, your defense up items, and you had both those bonuses, it could be a pretty quick little bonus. And then when you go to a new map, it cancels it out, and that might be frustrating. So I'm not really sure how I want to handle that yet. Now, something else that you just saw that I've kind of worked on is my menu presentation, or functionality, I should say, quality of life. So I go to my menu, pause it, and something that kind of bugged me, and I can still show you it because I've only updated one facet of the menu. So if I go to, let's say, my weapons, again, I've added all of my menus, all of my little selectables have that message icon at the bottom telling you what they are and what they do. So I'm pretty happy with how that turned out. And then as far as right now, I'm on my weapons, my Z button, my weapon equip. And if I press the over button once, it goes to the next weapon. Once, all right. But if I press and hold to the right, it still just moves 1. Which is fine. There's only 10 selectable items, so it's not a big deal to have to scroll through and press the button every time. However, if I go to my skills, this is the one I've kind of updated. If I press it once, it'll move them over. Press it once, it moves it over. However, if I press and hold, it does it quick. Now, there's only 10 of them, so I don't know. Maybe I was thinking maybe I could set it up to where I press it and hold it, and it at least takes me all the way to the far right side, and then it stops, and then I can press over, and it stops there to the left. But right now, it'll still stop itself sometimes. I don't know. Good old 2K3. But it feels right with this quick. When I just press it and hold it and it scrolls over really quick, it kind of feels better because it feels like you should be able to do that on any of the menus, but you can't. However, for that to work the way I set it up, there's a slight wait, like a 0.2 second wait between the blip and when it moves. So if you just press it once, there's just a really slight delay when it pops over. Now, it doesn't bug me, but I also made it. I'm pretty biased. So it might bug other people. So when I upload a new version of this, that's something to maybe keep an eye on and get a feel for if you were to play it, download and play it, and see if that lag bothers you. Because if it really is bothersome, then I'll just stick with you just have to press it once and it only moves once. Like if you press and hold, it won't do anything extra. But I'll get something else I'm kind of up in the air about. I don't want to take the time because it was kind of a hassle to go through and do this one, set this one up like this. And I'd have to do it with every single, obviously this one, my X button menu, I would need to set it up with pretty much anything that has something you can scroll through. It won't make sense to have some of them do it and some of them not. And then along with armor, so to make it, since you have 10 slots for all your armor, and once you get armor in the game, it's going to be there forever. Like you'll have it. There's no reason to sell it. So my different armors. So here, cotton shirt, +3 defense. Now, cotton shirt, +3 defense, you would think yeah, you're going to use that till you get the next armor and you're never going to use it again. Well, all the armors I'm going to add, like cotton shirt, +3 defense, yeah, it's not that great of a defense. However, if you're wearing the cotton shirt when your guy is poisoned, it completely prevents the poison status. So it's like there might be a dungeon where enemies poison you quite often, maybe multiple enemies. Anytime they hit you, they'll poison you. So it would be beneficial to have your cotton shirt on, even though it's not the best as far as defense wise. It'll completely prevent that that poison, giving the player a reason to wear the cotton shirt other than just right at the beginning of the game. Same thing with the wool shirt. I have a list of stuff written down for what it's going to do, but the wool shirt would prevent something or give some kind of bonus. This kind of harkens back to what I had talked about in a previous video about maybe I'll have a cobalt shirt that if your guy has cobalt hearts available, he won't need them equipped just if you get below 20% health, your guy will automatically use a cobalt healing item, freeing up your item slot for your player to not have to use that. So stuff like that is what I think that I'm going to give the benefits to different kinds of armor. And then the other equip slot will basically be kind of like an extra. Like I have rings in there right now. This is a ring. It doesn't really do anything. I just was playing with it, trying to set it up. I have a list of these items too, what they're going to be and what they're going to do. Just haven't delved into that too much. But yeah, not a ton. Oh, you know what? Maybe I'll go through and show you guys real quick. Let me get... So, I was playing a game on here. I think I could be misciting what game it was, but I think it was Balmung Cycle. I don't know if I'm butchering that name, or if maybe it wasn't even that game. But one of those games, I think it was Balmung Cycle. Let me see. It's probably in my on my desktop here. Oh boy, computer's laggy. You know, Tyler's laptop here. There we go. Starless Umbra, Forever's End. I thought it was right on my desktop. I'm pretty sure it was Balmung Cycle. It wasn't Forever's End. But anyways, let's see. Maybe it was Forever's End. I'm trying to remember which game that was. Well, regardless, whatever game it was, I think it was Balmung Cycle. I fell in love with their world map, and I think it's all ripped graphics. I don't know what game they ripped it from, but that's what I know it for, because I never played the original game that the graphics were from. So as far as I'm ever going to know, what inspired me was Balmung Cycle, or this 2K3 game, whatever it is. Even though it's using ripped graphics, I don't know the game it came from. So it made me, I was really hesitant. I didn't know the direction I wanted to go with my world map, and playing that game made me gave me a clear vision of like, okay, I want that, but with these time fantasy graphics. And I did my best version of it, with the time I have. And I'll just show you the direction it's going and what I'm talking about. So I went through and kind of altered a lot of these. So what I noticed in that game I'm referring to is on the world map, when you walk around on the edge of the continent, you can actually see the continent go under the water, and I'm sure you can see it there in this screen recording. You can see the continent stretch underneath the water and then connect to that other continent. And for some reason, when I was playing that game, that really made the world map just feel a lot more lived in. And it was such a small detail, but it made me feel so much different about a world map that, every RPG you see world maps the same thing over and over and over again. And that one detail was like, man, I have to have that in my world map. And I've actually, at this point, I've sacrificed water tile animation because I wanted that so bad, and I'm not sure how I'm going to go about getting any kind of animation. I know a few ways to do it. It's just, you guys know the ways that I'm thinking of too, whether I'm using events along the edge of the landmass, just kind of little white ripples to show that there's some movement. I have a couple ideas about maybe using a panoramic background and then filling in some of in that one tile, filling in a few blocks, just the transparent color, so you can actually see the parallax background cycling through and maybe giving the appearance that the water is kind of moving. But I basically went through, I got the tile set for that game that I'm referring to, Balmung Cycle, I think. And I took that tile set, saw what I needed to do from that to the Times Fantasy map that I have, and I went through and did a bunch of pixel work to make it. And in fact, this river that I'm walking right by right now, that's straight from... that's a palette swap basically from that Balmung Cycle, and it had waterfalls on it and little, a river turning left and right. And I took it and just repaleted it, did a palette swap, so it worked with my map. And then as far as the earth that you can see going under the ocean and then reaching up to the next continents, the other continents. That was basically the cliff tiles I took, and then I took a transparent layer of that watercolor of the water tiles. I did like a 48 by 48 tile of it. Made it transparent in A-Sprite, and then laid it over my cliff tiles, and then I put that into my tile set, and it gave me this look, which I ended up being pretty happy with. And honestly, even it's a world map, even if I decide not to even move forward with any kind of water animation, I think it looks fine for a world map. I think I might give it just to bring the world map even more to life, I might do pretty standard some transparent clouds going over the top of the hero or of the map. I think that would add something that maybe I'm lacking from the loss of the water tile movement. That would help bring it to life still. And just little stuff, as you can see over there, my little next to the power plant on this world map, you can see the little water turbine moving. Stuff like that kind of bring it to life, even though the water tile isn't moving. Kind of helps it, I think. So that's just a few things I wanted to throw you guys' way, get your thoughts on my status ailments and how I presented that to the player. Tell me what you think. It's handled by... let's get out of here. It wasn't too bad to set up. It's handled through 3 common events. Status effects call, status effects graphics, which is kind of a parallel process that's always going. Depending on if the call happens, it turns on a switch, and then the status effects graphics start showing. And it doesn't cause lag. It seems to work really well. I got my weights, my labels, and my 0.1 second weights in there, so it seems to operate correctly with all my other systems so far. And then just a few minor issues that I need to work out, which is, like I said, when you pause the game, the poison status bubble disappears, and it's a switch issue. I just need to, so you can see it bouncing around right there. But when I pause it, it goes away. It's a switch issue that I need to just work out. I basically need to commit a different switch for what I'm using that for. It just ends up being more work. Then I'll have to make sure I turn that switch on when I pause the game. And right now I'm using a different switch that's purposed for something else, but it turns on and off every time that this switch is supposed to be on and off, so it was just an easy go-to. The only issue is, for whatever reason, I can't remember, I'd have to look in there, it doesn't show that picture. So, stuff like that. But let me know what you think of that, how it bounces back and forth from the player to off screen depending on the actions being done. Basically, if you guys taking damage, it'll bounce out of the view up to that top right corner. When you pause it, it bounces to that top right corner. For multiple purposes, it goes to that top right corner if I pause it, and I'm going to choose what item I want to equip. Well, this is still always in view, that bubble. The menu doesn't cover it up. I played with it just staying in the same spot, but I quickly found that the menu covers it up, and then maybe the player won't remember what status elements he has and maybe what item he wants to equip. So it bounces to that top right corner for purposes like that. And then during combat, again, it'll turn transparent when you're running around swinging your sword and you're near an enemy. But if they hit you, for that animation, it bounces off a screen. That's another thing I'm not really sure. See, for that, it works great. It goes off screen. Now, when you're taking quick damage, that's when it bounces off really fast and goes back next to the hero. That might be a little bothersome. So stuff like that. Let me know what you guys think. And yeah, we'll see you maybe when I make a few more updates and make a video for it. Catch you later, guys.